Good evening and welcome to the FDU cast. You got your boys Alex, Yoni, and Jesse back with our predictions for the upcoming season. How are we going, guys? What do we think of the first couple of matches of football this weekend?
Shit.
Why? What happened, Jesse?
What happened?
Kane made his debut, didn't score a goal, so looks
What
like we
about the
haven't run.
result?
As I said before, you can take the boy out of Tottenham, but you can't take the Tottenham out of the boy.
That's going to be such a meme
As
thing for
a,
the whole year.
with the result, yeah, we lost 3-0 to Leipzig.
Yes,
Yep,
it,
that's all.
our lot haven't played yet, Yoni, but Premier League actually so far was really good start. We saw Man City just doing Man City things, but Haaland apparently is never good enough for Pep. Kind of sounds like a really toxic
That was
relationship.
pretty hectic. The halftime talk. Oh, was it
Very
halftime or
tough.
full time?
I thought it was full time.
Yeah, maybe full time talk. And no, it was halftime because he got subbed on. I was subbed off like 65th minute or something.
Oh, he did. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it was pretty funny seeing that happening. And apparently he was angry that Haaland was asking for the ball at situations where the teammates should have not passed him the ball, and he was just like telling Haaland, "No, you shouldn't be asking for the ball there."
No, I heard about that, but like, I don't know. I just feel like it's Pep being Pep. I don't know. I just feel like he just got to shut up and not, let Haaland do his thing,
I don't know.
especially after scoring 2 goals. I like it,
He literally
but
just won the treble, like, and
yeah,
I don't think we can really, argue against Pep, or we can say,
oh, I
oh,
can.
they're doing Pep things at this point. Like, he just won the treble, and I think Haaland's the kind of person who can take that
He
and be
can.
like, yeah, that's cool.
It's just funny. But I mean, like, look, it works because Pep didn't get to where he got to for no reason. But guys, let's get stuck into it. We're gonna be
I
doing
just want
our
to
predictions.
mention one
Let's go.
thing
Yeah,
you said, because
sure.
you mentioned about the EPL. It's nice to see first week in, and we already see controversial calls from the referees. Everton had a goal disallowed very wrongfully,
Yeah,
and the referee
that was not
actually
a foul.
whistled before the ball went into the goal, so he couldn't even be checked by VAR. So it
Yeah,
was terrible, terrible
and
call.
it was so not a foul on Tarkovsky. I don't
Yeah,
care. He
he
shouldn't
jumped.
even.
Keeper
I didn't
jumped
even. Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
exactly.
player. Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't Tarkovsky backing in to win. It was the other way around. But
yeah.
whatever. I digress. We're gonna be guys. We're gonna be talking about our predictions for the upcoming season. So we'll be doing the way we'll go about it is we're gonna go with the who we think will win the title for each of the top five leagues plus the Champions League. We can discuss the transfers that we like and dislike, any surprises in there that are gonna be coming up for the upcoming season. Also, we'll be going through some of your hot takes that you've left in the comments. So thank you so much to the guys who engaged with that. It was really awesome to see. And then, of course, we're going to discuss our lovely ladies, the Matildas, and just what an absolute run they've been on, and the absolute anxiety that wrought on the entire country with that shootout last night against France. But without further ado, we'll start with the best league in the world, the Premier League. Who do we think is going to be the Premier League champions come the end of this season? Jesse.
Uh, fuck the
Jesse only
Premier
knows
League.
one team in the Premier League.
Tottenham is that
Us,
the
he knows
losers? Yeah,
Arsenal. He knows Arsenal because
yeah,
because they beat them all the time in the Champions League.
yeah, 5-0 every time we play them. Probably but Man City, man. I don't know if you can really say anyone else is going to win it. I think it's going to be Man City. About 20 points between them and second, and whoever is between second and seventh will be a couple of points from each other. So, yep, Man
Yeah,
City.
I'm gonna go for Manchester as well. United. No, I'm kidding. It's they're gonna do the four in
The
a row.
Mafia.
Um, I can't see them. I don't even think they got weaker. I know people are saying, oh, they lost Gundogan. Mahrez is gone as well, but they have the team to cop with already, and I think Kovacic will be really good for them. They've got Gvardiol as well. The way I see it is anyone who's a fullback that would have played for Man City at any point will now just be a winger instead because they're just going to play centre backs in the back. Like that's just the Pep
Yeah.
plan at the moment it looks. So I don't think the loss of Mahrez even matters because you just chuck Nico Williams or whatever that far forward now instead.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree with you there. Like, I definitely think it's going to be Man City. I think it won't be as contentious as last season. I don't think there'll be a point where they look like they're going to lose it. I think they'll just be on top for pretty much the entire year. Even still, like even with the loss of guys like Mahrez, they've got Phil Foden, so hopefully now going to take that next step. Of course, they're looking at Elise as well. That'll be a big sign if they can pull him. Very close. They're in a bit of I think a bit of a back and forth right now with West Ham for getting Paquetá. If they get Paquetá, then forget about it because that's just another classy midfielder that City apparently don't need. But sure, why not?
I will say,
so yeah.
initially I was going to say that City might be the first team to be at the top of the table for 100% of the weeks. However, thank you, Newcastle.
Yeah, they got it. I know, but give it about, I think City will be on top, honestly, for about 37, 36 game weeks. So that'll be really annoying. But a pretty easy one. We'll just move on from that one because there's really no point in discussing City. They are the best team in the world. So I'm pretty confident in saying they will win the Premier League again for the fourth time in a row. Next, we've got the winners of La Liga. Yoni, what do you reckon?
I actually think this is quite tough. Barca hasn't really strengthened, but then they had a great season last season, and defensively they've been very strong. But then, Real Madrid did just get Bellingham as well in midfield. We saw the first game, he scored a goal as well. Yeah, it was a bit scrappy, but he got the goal. Everyone was celebrating with him, and I can see that midfield now really pushing hard. And you could see in the game, Camavinga played a lot. Again, he went to the left and kind of attacked that way, and it really just seems to suit him.
Well, if you look at that game, all four of them started, so they're four young midfielders.
I think Ancelotti said that he's going to play him as a 10 kind of thing. Him's further forward than the other three as well. And I see Real Madrid winning it at the end of the season. Obviously, the situation with the keeper, you guys just told me
they're getting Kepa. Kepa is being here we go by Romano. So Kepa is on his way to
it's Madrid. The wrong ex-Atletico Madrid keeper, but it is what it is.
The fax machine, they finally got it working and doesn't even matter anymore. Jesse, who do you think is going to win the Spanish league?
I'm just sorry. Kepa never played for Atletico Madrid.
Bilbao. Yeah, Bilbao.
I've got Madrid winning La Liga. The fact that they can take off midfielders and put Cruz and Modric on, and not look missing a beat. I think their biggest area is going to be they don't really have a solid striker, and with news coming out right now that Mbappe will probably stay at Madrid. Stay at PSG. Madrid's kind of in a position where they don't have anyone to be a number 9. And I think they're going to lack a lot of the goals Benzema was providing them. And I think it's going to be a bit harder from this time because obviously when Ronaldo left, Benzema stood up and really took hold of it. I don't think Rodrigo or Vinny Jr. are quite at that level to take up the reins of scoring all those goals that you're going to be missing.
He did score yesterday, didn't he?
Rodrigo did, yeah. I still think Madrid will probably win the league. They've just got a stronger team overall compared to Barca, but I'd imagine it's only going to be 2, 3, 4 points in it.
I guess the other thing is that Barca also did get Gundogan, which does strengthen them on a big game kind of, experience, ability, and all that kind of stuff. Drag them through it. So
that's true.
I disagree with you guys. I think Barcelona are going to do it again. I can't really look past the defensive record. Last season, they've probably got the best. I think it was the best defense in Europe. They've got a player who we all agreed was the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment in Marc-Andre ter Stegen. I think they've still got balance all around. And I think it's more so I really look at Madrid's issues on the pitch. And yes, they've got an amazing midfield and they've got amazing wingers and defenders, don't get me wrong. But to not have now they're finally getting a goalkeeper, but it's Kepa. Don't really think is it going to be a good enough replacement for Courtois. And to not have a striker outside of Joselu, that's very concerning. To be able to not have replaced Karim Benzema, who's been their best player since Ronaldo left, that's a massive hole. Massive hole to fill. I can't really see Madrid just having enough in them. Because even last season when they had Benzema coming off of the La Liga and Champions League win, they had a lot of injuries. They were kind of just not maintaining that consistency in the league compared to Barcelona. I think this year will be the year. Unless they can somehow get Mbappe out of PSG, which doesn't look like they're going to, like you said, Jesse. I can't see Madrid doing it ahead of Barcelona.
Fair enough. I mean, Barcelona did also strengthen their defense as well. They signed Inigo Martinez. I don't know. I just can't see them maintaining it. I don't know. They've got a strong squad, but none of their signings really, besides Gundogan, really stand out. I think it would all really depend on Lewandowski as well, because he really needs to start firing home for them, because he was pretty absent. Like, scored a lot last season, but compared to what has been scoring for Bayern, like, he was pretty underwhelming.
That's true. That's true. He was pretty underwhelming, like especially towards the back half. But that's just me. I don't know. I just think it's a depth problem. But we'll see. We'll see either way. That's gonna be Spain. It is just gonna be a 2-horse race. It's gonna be between those two.
Do we not think Atletico will be anywhere near it? Like,
no.
So I think from memory, in the second half of the season last season in La Liga, Atletico actually had the best record. They played a much more attacking game as well compared to what we've come accustomed to from an Atletico side and a Simeone side specifically. So it'll be interesting at least. I don't think they're going to win it or anything like that. But it's 2 years ago they won it, 3 years ago, so it's not like it hasn't happened for the last few years.
That team
they are very
2 years ago. That team that won 2 years ago, they also just benefited off of Barca Madrid dropping off.
Yeah,
and they've got really like nothing right now. Like they're stuck with Felix. They can't really get him out of there, and they're trying to get him to Saudi Arabia, but I don't even know how that's going to go. Their midfield.
But they did get they did make a few good, like, they got Soyuncu across the board. They got Aspilicueta, so it's kind of strength.
Yeah,
like Soyuncu's not that good. Aspi's like
if he can get the form that he had at our first couple of years at Leicester, I think he's actually.
But Aspi's 35. Like, I just think Atletico's time's kind of moving on.
Look, I think
it's not that same that same intimidating Atletico Madrid like it used to be.
Yeah.
No, look, Simone doesn't want to move on. But I think Atletico will still be up there. I just don't know if they're going to really be strong enough to challenge for a title. Like, when you look at Real Madrid and Barca, they're 100% challenging for the title, and I still think Madrid will win. Atletico has fixed a lot of the issues that were plaguing them last season. Like, defensively, they weren't the best. Like, normally when you think of Atletico, Oblak is one of the best keepers in the world. He was useless last season, like nowhere near the standard that you would expect from him. And then the defense, which Atletico is known for, was just conceding like 3-4 goals every game. Champions League, in all of the European competitions, in the league. That's where they've focused their issues with. They've fixed up that defense. Whether or not it pays off in person, that's going to be where we see whether or not they can challenge for the league. They were only 1 point off Madrid last season, so it's not like they were hugely underneath. I think we're also sleeping on Real Sociedad a little bit too, because I don't think they're going to win the league, but I think they'll be a top 4 contender once more. They've been performing really well, and they've made some interesting transfers. So I feel like they could potentially get in there. I think it's gone under the radar a little bit. They signed Andre Silva, so that Portuguese striker from Leipzig. He is injured, but they've got him on loan. If he can, and I know it's a big if, replicate that season from Frankfurt a few years ago where he was keeping up with both Lewandowski and Haaland in goal scoring.
Finished third behind them, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he finished second, actually. It was second or third.
Yeah, it was that great Frankfurt side that played like amazing.
The European champions?
Nah, it was a season before. Yeah. So I think he scored about, I want to say it was like 28 goals and had 8 assists in his 32 games.
Great. Just hasn't been here for Leipzig, that's all. Hasn't
played
that much for Leipzig, unfortunately.
But I mean, he's still only 27, so he still can come forward. And if he does, I really think Real Sociedad's going to really be a threat, especially when their outgoings haven't been any major important player too.
So does Yoni and Alex still play for them?
The only outgoing they had was David Silva, who's just old and injured. That's pretty much it. Other than that, Sociedad have done really well. They'll definitely finish top 4, I think. They'll probably finish 4th, you think, behind the big 3.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I agree. That's Spain. Pretty, a bit of a mixed bag, but it is going to be between the big 2. There's no really doubt about that. We've got just probably maybe the most simplest one here, the Bundesliga. Jesse,
Leipzig, clearly.
Don't do it. No. I know what you're going to say.
No. Look,
based on yesterday, Leipzig's going to win it.
Yeah, well, and then based on the Community Shield, Arsenal are going to win the Premier League. What's your point?
That's true. That's true.
Like, come on. They got Harry Kane. They've
Look,
replaced Lewandowski with, a player of equal caliber.
I don't know about that, but
Yes.
he's
Well,
up there.
according to the English media, the best striker in the world right now. Just saying.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
Kane's a gun.
There's no bias.
And you got rid of Sadio Mane.
Yeah.
The part-time. We could have had the Kane, Sane, Mane front line, whatever. Part-time boxer, he's gone. Your goalkeepers, the situation's a little bit how you going, but you got Kim Min Jae. Alphonso Davies is back to his best. Conrad Lima.
All right. Look, I'm not gonna say Dortmund's gonna win the league, so it's not where you thought it was gonna go. I don't think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be very much like last season. It might come down to the last match day. Bayern is strengthened. 100%. We got rid of some dead weight, but the issue right now is the manager. He's like, after that game, he went. I mean, we had a 3-0 loss horribly to Leipzig, and then what's the first thing he does is start blaming the players. Doesn't own it. When asked what went wrong, his answer was, "I don't know." You're the manager. If anyone's meant to know what's going wrong here, it's gonna be you. That's where the issue is going to come in for me. I think is if we don't win the league, it's going to come down to Tuchel, and that's why I think it's going to be pretty competitive. Dortmund has strengthened, so
yeah, they have strengthened quite well actually.
They signed Sabitzer from Bayern, Felix, I can't even pronounce his last name, from Wolfsburg,
and Mecca. I don't know.
Yeah, they've signed Rami Bessembani from Gladbach. Yeah. Thank you. And
thank me. I don't know if that's correct. Don't quote me on that, please.
And look, they looked pretty strong in the last game out. Granted, it was against I think they're like a 4th division team, but Haller, he's back. I think a full season with him is going to be really helpful for them. You saw the impact he had at Dortmund when he came back last season from obviously covering from cancer. And suddenly, they went from a team that was sitting like 3rd, 2nd to actually challenging. Obviously, it helped that Bayern had their collapse. Granted, if Dortmund can continue their streak this entire season under Haller, don't know where they're going to go.
You're forgetting, obviously, they've lost one big player.
Yes, they lost Bellingham, but they've signed 2 midfielders to replace him. Yes, they're not the same quality as Bellingham, but, when you've got a bit more of a depth in the midfield with 3 solid midfielders, like you can rotate a bit more, and then you're not relying on not having one midfielder who's carried your season in the last game of the season, where you lose at home. So you draw at home and lose a title. And then you look at Leipzig.
Leipzig look good, honestly.
Leipzig have lost. Yeah, look, I mean, if you look at Leipzig's outgoings, they've lost Dominic Bazalau. Yeah, that guy. They've lost the Hungarian. They've lost Josko. They've lost Lima. They've lost Christopher and Kunku. They've lost Angelino. He's gone.
Where's he gone to?
Galatasaray. He's not performing. They've cleared out a lot of deadwood. As we discussed, Andre Silva's gone. All these players are.
So is Danny Olmo really gonna take over and Kunku's kind of scoring?
Well, it might be Xavi Simons too. Xavi Simons is like
they brought a loan for him. Xavi Simons
is a really good little loan for him, I think.
They've also who have they got? So they've also got Benjamin Sesko.
Yeah.
Sesko, yeah.
Yeah. Xavi Simons, Fabio Carvalho from Liverpool on loan. They've signed a new goalkeeper. They've signed a bunch of defenders, and if we know Leipzig is good at one thing, they somehow always manage to find a good centre back that no one's ever heard of. They played for 2 seasons,
and not being too many changes, though.
I mean, they beat us 3-0 last night, so clearly not. Clearly not.
It's a one game at the end of the day. Yeah.
But the one thing that Leipzig do is constantly just change their team and doesn't really affect them. It's constantly going to be the Champions League.
And they get a lot of players, obviously, from the other RB groups as well. So they kind of have to play together.
Yeah, it's the Red Bull factory. Like, I mean, like everyone's like, oh, they signed Sesko. It's like, no shit, they signed them from themselves.
Yeah.
It's like
They also,
perfect formula.
So Jesse, hot takes is Leipzig winning the league? Is that what you said?
I'm just like Bayern winning the league, but I think Dortmund and Leipzig are going to be very, very competitive and close.
How's Leverkusen going to do you reckon? Because obviously
I reckon they're going to finish fourth. I love me some Leverkusen.
Leverkusen. Look, Leverkusen is in Germany they call them Neverkusen because every time they've challenged for a title, they've always lost. So I don't think they've ever won like a
2002. They had the second place treble.
Yeah, they've won. I think they've won like 3 trophies in their history, and one of them was a Bundesliga 2 title. I don't know. I mean, it shocked everyone recently because they've re-signed Alonso for until 2027, I think it was. And he's only been there for not even a year. So the fact that it's suddenly they've extended him for another 5 years. Their signings have been interesting. Obviously, Zach has gone to Leverkusen. It's going to be interesting to see how they go. They lost Diaby to Villa, so that's probably a big loss for them. But
scored yesterday.
Yeah,
a big loss.
But I think they'll be fourth. But you got to forget you're forgetting Union Berlin and Freiburg haven't weakened at all, and they're only strengthened since last season, so they might be up there. Be an interesting battle. I think it's going to be a lot like Premier League, but the distance between first and second is going to be a lot closer.
Okay.
Yeah, potentially. No, the Bundesliga has actually made a lot of strides, so that's really good.
I think we agree it will be Bayern as well.
We do think, look, I think it's hard not to say it'll be Bayern, but probably won't be the wash that we're used to seeing.
It'll only be the 12th year in a row or whatever. So
yeah, something like that. Ligue, speaking of 12th year in a row, actually no, not 12th year in a row, but still PSG. PSG, I think are going to win Ligue 1 again.
Yeah, I can't see it not being
and Mbappe has been confirmed now that he's going to be part of the
maybe that will cause a stir because they did bring Asensio, they brought in Gonzalo Ramos, and now you're going to have Mbappe actually stay. You got Dembele too. Like who's your front three going to be? Is it going to be?
But they're about to sell Neymar. Neymar's close to going to Saudi.
So who's the front three going to be?
Probably Ramos, Dembele, Mbappe.
So Asensio doesn't play, doesn't start.
Asensio's not good enough to start regularly. He's always injured.
Yeah, that's true. You can count on that, I guess.
And I'm sure.
Dembele is always injured too. So I guess they
cancel each other out. Yeah, exactly.
Like on the right too, it makes sense.
No, exactly. And the one thing that Mbappe always wanted was to have like a striker to play off of, and they finally got one now. So, especially if Neymar pisses off the Saudi, Mbappe gets what he wants and plays on the left wing, where that's his best position, I think. So
yeah, it's good. You can really see when he looks to the right, he'll see everyone and tell them where to go and what to do and
exactly.
really manage them well.
It works for France, and this will be Mbappe.
Yeah, it worked so well that they didn't win the World Cup.
Not his fault.
And it's worked for PSG where they didn't win the Champions League. So
yeah, he never got what he wanted. But also as well, this will be his probably if this entourage thing that you mentioned, Jesse, how the entourage has come together to negotiate something, you'd think then theoretically that the agreement probably is going to be, because apparently they're going to look to extend Mbappe's contract. Potentially they'll just sign him on for a few more years with the agreement that stay for one more year, do what you can, ball out Madrid next year.
See, I actually think Mbappe uses Madrid to get more money. Now I know everyone will say is, well, if you wanted more money, why didn't he go to Saudi Arabia? The man is smart. I hate him, but he's smart.
He's a genius.
Why go to Saudi Arabia when you can convince PSG to give you the exact same money Saudi Arabia is going to give you, and you get to stay.
It's like going to Saudi pretty much.
Exactly.
You're staying in Qatar.
He will earn.
Paris. It's basically Middle East anyway. Paris.
He will earn the exact same amount of money, or not, probably not, but still more than any other player in Europe. Get to stay in Paris. Get to stay in Europe and play, Champions League and all that. And he doesn't have to leave. I think that's a win for him. I think he's really used Madrid there. And there's another part of me that didn't think he was, I think maybe he thought that PSG wouldn't have the balls to drop him. and they did it yesterday.
Yeah, it was really well done by PSG.
Yeah, but
And I think he's
they're bringing him
panicked.
back now. But they're also bringing him back now. So
But
it's
I think he might
But
have
they're forcing
panicked.
him to actually have to resign. Like, so they
Yeah.
actually got what they wanted. You
They-
either
yeah,
resign or you're gone.
But
Like,
also,
that's what they wanted.
Look, no, I agree.
You love
but
protecting
also,
Mbappe. We understand.
How? Like, this guy just makes shit up. But I'm telling you, I think it's the agreement that is like stay for 1 more year, then you're going to go to Madrid.
I think
it's a quid pro quo. It's a back scratching situation.
Yeah. I agree with you in
Probably
regards to that.
Probably 250 million euro fee next year from Madrid, which we know Madrid are prepared to pay that for Mbappe. He stays for 1 more year, which is what PSG want. They get a fee. He doesn't rot in Saudi Arabia or rot on the bench. And
you know what the problem with that is?
Move. And
You know what the problem with that is for PSG? Is that the last 3 months of the league, of the season in general, he's not going to try as hard because he doesn't want to get injured just before going to this move to Real Madrid. So that means like any of the Champions League kind of, like attempts, he's not going to work that hard for.
But he probably will work hard in the Champions League just out of personal pride because players like that.
He has no pride. Look at him. Come on, mate.
What do you mean he has no
All he
pride?
wants is more money. He literally just wants. It doesn't. I don't
He's
even know
a World Cup winner.
I honestly don't even know if the guy loves football. I honestly think he just wants money. Like he's like,
oh my god,
I need to feed all the other turtles and fucking.
Oh my god. Look,
I need to pay for surgery.
He doesn't have to try. They don't have to try hard in the league anyway because I actually really like what they've done. This is the first time, except for one player, which we'll touch on later. This is the first time that I've actually liked what they've done in the transfer window. I like Luka Hernandez. I like Milan Skriniar. I don't mind Asensio. I love.
I don't know.
I love Who's the Uruguayan? Ugarte. Is Ugarte? I love that signing. They've actually finally got like some
striker
beef in the midfield. No, like a beef in the midfield. Gonzalo Ramos, obviously Messi. They let go of Messi, which is whatever. Didn't really work out there. Ramos is gone. Wijnaldum's and Paredes are on their way out. The other dickhead.
Hardy's gone.
Verratti's like blacklisted. I don't know what's going on there, but I think it's got something off it still. But whatever. Neymar's on the verge of going to Saudi, so they're starting to clear out some of the bullshitness, and apparently they're actually trying to introduce like culture back into.
Yeah, now there's only going to be the one ego to control them all.
Yeah,
one ego to rule them all.
When you're top 3 player in the world, you're allowed to have an ego.
Top 3.
Control the team. Come on.
Okay.
Next. Anyway, it is PSG. Let's face it. Obviously, it is.
No, it is.
I don't know. I mean, just remember too that PSG didn't have the big win that everyone thought they would have last season.
I reckon they're better this year. I reckon they're better.
Yeah, I agree. I think they are more. They're more rounded this season.
Yeah, it's a much better like squad and plus
like even like you don't have Ramos. Manager, like they relied on Ramos last year, who's 38 years old or whatever the case is. Like
now they got Skriniar.
Yeah,
and they've got a good coach. Luis Enrique is a fantastic coach. Unlike,
but is this Luis Enrique's first club coach gig in a while? I think
yeah. So he went from Barca to Spain to retirement to
Spain. So in like 6 years now.
It's been a while. I don't know. I just think I think it lends it. I don't know why, but they're currently playing right now and they're winning 2-0, so they're already getting a head start on PSG, and they were so good last season, so good.
They were. So they lose Seko Fofana though to Saudi.
Yeah,
which is a bit sad. That's pretty sad.
They did lose their striker to Leipzig as well, but I don't know. I just think that they'll be able to continue it for one more season.
I hope so. That'd be great for them. I'd be really good if they did. It's a very small club, so for them to be consistent in the Champions League would be great. But we'll agree it's PSG. The last one, I think, is actually probably the most interesting. I don't think it's the most cut and dry.
I think we'll all have different answers here.
Yeah, for Serie A, I think it's the least cut and dry because really, I don't know. I have an answer, but I'm not like confident in it at all. But I'll let you guys go first. Yoni, who have you got that's going to be winning the Serie A?
So I mean, the preseason has been pretty poor, but I think they'll do quite well in the entire season as a whole. And I'm going with AC Milan. I think they've actually strengthened a lot. They've made some really good purchases. So they got Yunus Musa. They got that Chukwueze kid. I can't pronounce his name. Yeah. And then they got Pulisic and Luka Romero. Like, so they've actually like really, really, and Loftus-Cheek as well. So they've really strengthened up quite a bit. I think now they're a much younger. They're a much younger team now. So which is kind of what the plan that they had for quite a while. Even back, when they or who was the director of football, and they just let him
Maldini?
go. Yeah, they had Maldini, and his whole thing was we want a younger team. Even now that he's gone, they still kind of proceeded that way. They did bring some experience in, obviously, as well. I think they're actually going to be really good. Napoli, well, I mean, they lost Kim, but then they also strengthened. They got I forget who it was, but anyway, they did actually do quite okay in the market. Not much, but brought some in. But aside from that, like I don't really know whether they can repeat what they did last time. Last season, at the end of the season, they actually dropped off a bit as well. And they changed the coach, obviously, so he's having a little break. And I don't see Inter. I don't see Juventus. No.
Okay, that's fair. That's a really good answer there. Jesse, what about you? Where are you thinking?
All right, let's go over it. Juventus is a no. Their signings haven't been impressive. Like Moise Kean, I think I know he was on loan last season, I think, but he's like he hasn't been the wonder kid that everyone thought he was going to be. Timothy Weah, no, it's just the same. He's okay, not a Juventus level type player from like Juventus of old. And so none of their signings have been incredibly
Did
impressive.
Locatelli go to Juve?
Yeah, so that's the only one that
He's
I
already
would.
there.
Yeah, that's the
he's
only one
already
that I liked, but that's just a official from like his loan, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we look at Napoli, they haven't strengthened a lot.
I just want to say Pogba is like a new signing. All right. Like, how people say that. So,
See if he gets on the pitch.
So Napoli replaced Kim with Natan, who's a Brazilian centre back. Is fairly experienced in Brazil, so hopefully he can be that centre back they need to replace Kim. In terms of outgoings and new signings, nothing's really been impressive. I think they were still pretty far ahead of the competition going into the transfer window, and I think when the transfer window ends, unless any of their teams pull off a major signing, I think they're still going to be a little bit ahead. So I think I'd tip Napoli to win the league. Inter, I mean, they've let go a lot of players. They've lost Brozovic, and obviously Anana. Summer is a great keeper, but he's getting old, and yeah, I don't know. They've got money to spend. They're not spending it. Don't know what they're going to do. I don't think they're going to challenge for a title. Milan.
They did bring in Marcus Thuram. That's
for free.
But he's as someone who's watched him in Germany for a while, he's okay, but he's not like that type of player to take you to the next level. He's a good squad player. So unless you've already got those players in there that can take you to the title, he's not going to be the difference of you finishing third and finishing first. He's like the difference of you finishing third by 5 points versus 10.
Speaking of Inter, what do we reckon will happen? So Lukaku's 100% not going there, right? Like he's now back at Chelsea.
So
he's still at Chelsea.
Inter's pissed at him. Inter doesn't want him because he was negotiating.
He was negotiating with Juve under the table, but Juve don't want him because the fans stormed on the pitch the other day.
Yeah, they did a Melbourne victory.
Lukaku. Yeah, they did Melbourne victory with less bucket kicking, and basically the man said no Lukaku's. But Chelsea don't want Lukaku. Juventus probably don't want Lukaku.
I wonder if Chelsea will keep them now just because Nkunku's injured as well.
I don't know if he can, man. Like, I mean, the bridge was burned with the whole, like, I want to go back to the Inter.
Yeah.
Like,
and you probably played Nicholas Jackson further forward anyway.
I think Lukaku.
And Lukaku was so bad last season. I think it screams Saudi Arabia. It just screams.
It was actually all right for the half of the season. So, I mean,
I think Madrid might loan him for one season just because they don't have a solid striker and there's no options for them at the moment.
I bet you the La Liga would love that, a front three that's all black.
It'll be racist abuse after racist abuse.
Don't get them to Valencia. I'm actually picking Inter. I'm Denard with Inter and Ace and Milan. I like what both teams have done in the transfer market. I like what Inter did to replace Onana with Summer. I really like Summer. I like despite his age. I know that they lost Skriniar, but he wasn't really like in their defense for like a lot of last season. He was like, I think he was injured.
Yeah.
And same with Brozovic. So I don't think that's that. I think they were coping without them anyway. I know Thuram isn't like the world-beating striker, but I think it's going to be a great partner for Lautaro Martinez. I think Barrella's still good. I still think they've got some good midfielders. They've got Mkhitaryan playing well, Çalhanoğlu playing well. They've still got a lot. They have Dumfries, but they signed another. They signed Cuadrado. I think it's also going to like really help them out on that right hand side. They got DiMarco on the left, who's actually really fantastic, surprisingly. So I think it's well rounded. I think it's going to be between either them or Milan, because same thing with Milan that Yoni touched on. They made a lot of great signings. They've got Okafor as their striker now, who's they're not going to be finally playing Giroud, or now they're retired Zlatan. No more 40-year-olds up top. Pulisic is great. Chukwueze is great. They finally got some wingers. They've got Rafael Leao already. Mike Mignon, hopefully now will be able to have a full season, because I think his injury last season really stuffed them around. Lost Tonali, but they've still got like a really solid midfield all the way with players like Benasser. So I like Milan, but I'm just gonna give the edge to Inter.
I'll be honest.
I think they're a bit more settled, and I like their manager a lot.
I'll be honest. I tip Roma to finish above both of them.
Cool. I like it.
Obviously,
maybe not with that Tammy though.
Roma, are they in Europa again?
They would be.
Or
conference. They finished fifth. I think they finished fifth.
I thought they finished sixth even.
Yeah, they did. They finished sixth.
Okay.
Which
so
is
Europa?
conference?
It's Europa.
Europa? All right.
Europa, okay.
But they signed I can't pronounce his name. Husam Awa?
Awa?
Yeah,
very good signing. Evan Ndika from Frankfurt, and Christensen from Leeds. So like they've made some decent signings. Only three.
Striker though. I wish they got a striker, because Abraham's out for the year now with an ACL, and I don't know how they didn't get Scamacca.
You know who they should get?
I don't know how that didn't happen.
Lukaku.
Oh God.
No, Jose loves him.
They've still got.
You think the Roma fans are gonna want him?
They've still got Belotti and Ballotti and Dybala.
Belotti's done nothing really.
He hasn't been there that long, has he? At Roma?
No, I mean like in general over the last like 7 years. I feel like he's
that one like amazing season he had at Torino, but I don't know if they got Scamacca, I could actually see it. I'm just not sure without like a proper.
Where did Scamacca go again?
Went to a different Italian team. Now I forgot.
Atalanta.
Yeah, he went to Atalanta.
Yeah.
He pulled the whole crap of like, oh, Roma's in my heart, I'll go to Roma, and then he just doesn't go there. So it's like, well, go fuck yourself.
Man's been everywhere in fucking Italy. Jesus Christ.
Who's Scamacca?
Yeah, every season.
Yeah, he's only 23.
He's
like Nicolas Anelka.
He's played what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, fucking 7,
he's a proper
8, 9, 10, fucking 12 clubs, and he's only 24 years old. Fuck me.
Yeah. It sucks because, like, I don't know. I feel like it was grossly misused at West Ham, but we'll see how he goes. But
I think you got to remember too, Abraham's not injured for the whole season. He's expected back around January.
Is it not an ACL?
It's a big injury, but they're like their estimated return is January.
Yeah, but
so I mean
it's gonna take time to have to bet into the season.
Yeah, you never know.
It's an ACL.
Yeah.
I like Roma a lot though. I really hope they do well, because I really like the team. I love that Jose's kind of like a thing again. Even if he kind of caused a lot of drama on the Europa League final, that's why I love him. So I'm always gonna be his fan.
I think
I don't know.
Fiorentina is
very tough.
Fiorentina is a bit of a wild card. They haven't lost any really major players besides Igor, and they've signed some decent ones. They've got Arthur.
He worked out really well last season.
Liverpool legend. And they also got Yerry Mina, who if he can stay fit would be pretty decent.
From Everton?
Yeah.
Yes.
Straight from them. Yeah.
Loose unit. We'll see. So that's probably going to be the most interesting to watch, just in terms of it's really, there's not much separating that top 6 or 7, those top 6 or 7 sides. I mean, Juventus could actually go back into the Champions League, but that's if they just don't keep getting more point deductions. We'll have to see with them. Maybe Pogba goes back to form. Maybe not. I hope he does not. So fuck him. But we'll see. Serie A is probably going to be very interesting. Most interesting out of the top 5 leagues. But those are the top 5 leagues done. The big one. Big ears, Champions League.
All right.
What do we think? And why is it
My
gonna be Man
Champions
City?
League one is going to be a hot take.
Oh,
All right.
if you say fucking Man United, I'm gonna kick you off.
No, it's not Man United.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Qualify?
going with PSG. Just based on everything we said earlier, they're much more rounded team. I just think they're more. But this my thought of this was before they decided to keep Mbappe. I actually think keeping Mbappe kind of like ruins it almost. But
oh, man, haters everywhere.
it's a nuisance in the locker room. Like it just is.
Sounds like Paris's problem. Stop giving him contracts.
But yeah, PSG, maybe Arsenal. No, kidding. And what was the other one that you asked about? Europa.
Surely, no, not Europa. I couldn't care less about that. No, I'm saying
I
Champions League.
don't know why you don't care about that, mate, because you'll be in Europa after the group stage. So
No. We'll
gotta go for glory.
No. We'll pull some dodges and get like.
No. We'll make it through the group stage, I reckon.
No, it really depends on who you get grouped with.
Yeah, we just need to be top 2, so it's okay. I think we'll be fine this season. Actually, like I have faith in it, in the team and Ten Hag to at least
we
make.
Spoke about it in the United Mafia. We think that.
Yeah.
But I think it's Man City again for the Champions League. If Bayern Munich can get a goalkeeper, I'm actually going to pick Bayern Munich because I love the Kane signing, and I actually love Bayern's team. They just need a goalkeeper.
I can't even think who's midfield at Bayern at the moment.
Lima, Gravenberg, Kimmich, Goretzka.
Musiala.
But Gravenberg doesn't. Well, like he didn't really do much last season. Musiala, yes, but he plays as a 10. I'm thinking more like the 6-8s kind of role.
Goretzka.
Well, that's who we're trying to sign. So Bayern's not done. They want to after Kane. They're really focusing on a goalkeeper and a new defensive midfielder.
How old's Kimmich now?
You'll probably play Guerrero in the midfield as well. Like when you do play.
You reckon?
Fucking better not.
But
he's
a great sign.
He 28.
It's the perfect age.
Yeah.
Is he 28?
Yeah.
Fuck, he's good.
I know. I thought he was like Cruz almost. Like
no, I thought Kimmich was younger. I forget he's been around for ages.
He's been around for forever. Yeah.
I know, but like, just look at him. He looks 12.
Oh, hopefully, he plays like he's 12 for fucking ages.
Hey, he's a gun, man. He's a gun.
Yeah, so you're good.
I really like Bayern's side. I think if you can
Bayern
get a goalkeeper.
It's Bayern. So we kind of want to get rid of Goretzka. That's where we're at.
And so who do you tuck in? Because you also got rid of Sabitzer.
Yeah. So obviously we got Lima, Kimmich, Gravenberg, Goretzka, and Musiala and Muller all from midfield. Goretzka's he's just not been great. He's probably stagnated while everyone around him has gotten better, and it's showing. And Kimmich is he's gone from wanting to be a right back to wanting to be a defensive midfielder to now wanting to just be a solid central midfielder. Yeah, and he's performing really great at that. But now we don't have a really strong defensive midfielder. And that's where we need to go. We don't have a proper.
You know who you should go for? Caicedo, just because it'll be amazing.
Wouldn't that be funny?
I don't know if we've got another 100 mil in our fucking bank for Caicedo.
Wouldn't that be funny?
But yeah,
you got 100 mil in the bank for Harry Kane. To be fair, or close.
You could get Lavia. I'm just thinking about you could get him cheap enough. He's young enough, and he'd be a gun actually if he works alongside Kimmich.
Do you guys want McTominay?
No.
He suits you guys,
No, I don't think he does.
He's very strong, technically phenomenal, and
pretty sure Bayern's never had a Scottish midfielder, and we don't want one now.
Have you ever had an English striker?
No.
There you go.
Have you had an English player?
Yeah, Hargreaves.
Yeah, Hargreaves.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Hargreaves.
Technically, he's Canadian, so.
Yeah, that's true. He had a choice playing for him.
That's a good point. I think it's gonna be Man City. I like Bayern, but I think it's the default's probably Man City. They're the most well placed to win the Champions League again.
I think Man City is either gonna fucking win the Champions League again, or they're gonna get knocked out in round of 16.
It's gonna be really interesting.
It's gonna be one or the other. They're gonna come up against some random team. It'll be someone stupid too. It'll be like a Benfica or something, and they'll get knocked out in a 2-1 final game, and then that's it. No Man City for the rest of the season.
And then they'll win
Great.
the Premier League by 25 points. But
They're
the thing
gonna
is,
win it by 25 points anyway.
it'll be
Man
interesting to
City
see.
have the best team in the world.
But it'll be interesting to see what they're like mentally now. Because like you saw the Rodri comment, for example, about like, oh, I can't play every game and all that kind of stuff. Like whether mentality wise now, they'll kind of like drop a little bit. Like, Man United said that that's happened to them. Like, I think Gary called it the York effect or whatever it is. It was like,
but I feel like Pep doesn't let his teams get sleepy, because he'll just, if players start to get sleepy, he just drops them and brings in like some other world class dickhead. So like, I just feel like that doesn't.
I can't see him replacing Rodri. Like
but like Rodri's talking about being tired, but then he plays like every minute of every game anyway. So like he's just talking shit. And like really, they can play Calvin Phillips.
Rodri, I think, was the third most minutes in the Premier League, only behind Bruno Fernandes.
No, and like, I mean, they can rest their players against Luton Town, and because like the bottom end of the Premier League is quite shit, so they can like really rotate against your Lutons, your Sheffields, your Wolves, that sort of
Liverpool
team. Yeah, exactly.
United.
So I think they'll be fine. No, we beat them last time, so we got their number.
Yeah, but you know what? The Spurs are the only team that did lose to them last season. So
yeah, but that's because of Harry Kane. Now Harry Kane's gone. So
but Big Ange is there, mate.
Oh yeah, Big Ange.
Did you see his like latest press conference? He was like,
what's he
he's like, the biggest regret so far of taking over the job is that I can't play FPL. He's like, first time in 20 years I've not been able to do it. And then he went on to, someone asked him about the money from Harry Kane, and man started digging himself a hole, because he's like, it's like getting money at work. My wife just takes it all, and then he's like, no, I didn't mean it like that. He's just like backtracking so hard. He's like, his poor wife.
Funny because like his press conferences have been so good, and teams just like the English media just don't know what to do with him, because they've never dealt with someone so blunt.
Man, I love it.
I love it when a manager just calls out the shit.
He's great. Tottenham in the Champions League, no, but I think if you're going to pick three teams to the Champions League, it's probably going to be Man City, Bayern Munich, and honestly, I actually do like the PSG shout. I actually like PSG. Madrid, if they got a striker, I don't know, but
Madrid, mate. No, you know what? Madrid just in general. Madrid just in general. Like I remember a couple when they won it. The last time they won it, they were looking so horrible that like when you were talking favorites, Madrid was like at the bottom of that list of like. In the last like
all the good teams.
Yeah. And it was like the round of like 16. So it was the 16 teams left, and they were like close to the bottom because they've been playing like shit. And then they proceeded to beat like everyone. Good team on the way. And it's just like, where does this come from? I know.
It was actually funny, like not to toot my own horn, but like during December of that season, like during the break between the group stage and the round knockouts, I said Madrid are a dark horse. They just have this bullshit aura. So Madrid are kind of just looking to fall into the Champions League just because of Madrid. Although that aura kind of got subsided against Man City last season, to be fair. So that's why I'm still just going to back Man City, because I've never seen a team do that to Real Madrid ever in my life, and it was ridiculous. I've never seen just someone slap a team around like that. Just titty slap them, crazy. Champions League will be good. Really looking forward to it. But that's who we're going to be getting for trophies.
Well, did Jesse say who he thinks actually wins it?
You said City, didn't you?
Yeah, I said it. See, the City's going to win it or get knocked out in the round of 16.
That's right. Cool. Yes. That's good. No, awesome. No, thanks for that, guys. Alrighty. Now, moving on to, we're just going to talk about the transfers for a little bit. Try and keep it relatively sharp, but we'll talk about what were our favorite transfers for the year, or for the window so far.
This is tough. There's actually like obviously a lot of transfers. I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say obviously Onana just is quite important for Man United, so I'm going to go with that one. I think Timber at Arsenal's a great one, but he just got injured yesterday, so I don't know how long he'll be out for. It didn't look good, but I think post-match Arteta said it was fine. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Enough, Jesse?
I think good question. Bellingham at Madrid. I think that's going to be great.
Mm-hmm. That's a great one. It's nice to see a midfielder go for 100 mil and not be overrated. So
English,
yes,
yeah, English,
English as well. I'm gonna go Kane. I loved it. I love it. I love the signing. I love it for him. Finally getting like actually playing a good team. I love it for Spurs because they can finally just move on and build again for Ange, and they don't have to deal with that cloud. And I love it for Bayern. It's a fantastic striker. Like I said earlier, they got rid of someone really toxic in Sadio Mane for the club, and have brought in a good striker. And I think Kane gets criminally overlooked in terms of like he just gets criticized for not winning trophies as though he doesn't play for like the most bottling club of all time. I think people are really going to see just how good he is while playing for a world class team. I really like that signing.
He'll connect really good actually with like
Musiala,
and
Sane,
as well.
Gnabry, come on.
And the thing is as well,
Muller.
the one thing you have to say about Thomas Muller is that he always wants the strikers to score goals. He's always just more than happy to assist and work
It'll
hard
be
for
good
them.
as well because Kane will just be a striker now. He won't have to drop deep and start playing balls. He can just focus on goal scoring. He doesn't have to like be the playmaker like it was at Tottenham. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
Cool. Jesse, you pick Bellingham. Yep.
Yeah. Good old Bellingham.
Cool. Fair enough. That's a good one. That's a great one. What about our favorite transfer rumors?
This was actually going to be my favorite transfer, but because it's not official yet, I'm going to put it as a rumor. Harry Maguire to West Ham. Oh my Lord. I am so happy. It is the best news. Probably Man United's best transfer in about 16 years. Since we got...
It's evidence of divine power.
Robin Van Persie.
Evidence of divine. Actually, I'll take my previous answer back. My favorite transfer is Fred to Fenerbahce. Go. Bye. See ya. Miss ya. Bye.
He was not the good one, but the better one out of the three Muppets.
No, the three-headed horse. No, my favorite rumor is probably Caicedo. Just being a fucking laugh. That whole morning was just brilliant.
Amazing.
And to see the Liverpool fans in the group freaking just like start shifting goalposts as usual.
Yeah. We're getting Caicedo. He's the best.
Oh no, he's actually shit.
Never wanted him.
Just the clap, that old chestnut. So that's been my favorite rumor. It's gonna be done shortly, but yeah, that whole Caicedo thing has just been brilliant. Just for comedic value. I don't know, Jess, what's been your favorite rumor?
I just had it and now it's gone from my head. Fuck. Yeah.
What team did it involve?
I don't even remember that. I literally had it.
What position was the player?
I think it was a midfielder. You guys started talking about Caicedo, and my head just went to that conversation.
Oh my god!
Shit. Oh, there we go. Gift or Barnes to Tottenham. I think that's going to be a great signing if that happens. That kid. I don't know if you guys know his story. Like he was unemployed for a little bit before he went to his current club, and every time he's gone somewhere, he's just taken that opportunity and fucking went for it. And I think he would be amazing if Tottenham can get him.
Yeah, and especially if it works on the Big Ange. Big Ange loves just a random player that he's going to turn into a jewel. Yeah. Loves the diamond of the rough, that guy. So it'd be great.
He does.
Brilliant. No, good. No, great ones, guys. We'll go on to some more negative looking transfers. So who do we think is going to flop?
So I've got one that I've been saying and people just giving me shit for it, but it's going to happen.
Rice, isn't it?
It is Declan Rice. He's going to flop. He's not that good. He's not that good. And the thing is, the English media is saying he's like the second coming of Jesus pretty much, right? And so they're expecting Arsenal to come first or second. I honestly, and this is one of my hot takes, I don't think like they'll make Champions League because there's 5 spots, but I don't think they'll come in the top 3.
It's 5 spots.
Yeah. There's because of the coefficient, the new Champions League will be, and it's more than likely that.
Yeah. Because the rules they're doing.
I actually think they'll come 4th or 5th. I don't think they'll even come in the top 3. And I think Declan is
massive.
It's slow. Like you actually like watch him on the turn. Like it's just not that good. That's my flop transfer, especially for that price. He's not worth 105 million. Like
brilliantly, there's a scorching hot take. I disagree wholeheartedly. I'm gonna go, and I did praise their activity earlier, but this is the one signing I don't like, and it's Ousmane Dembele to PSG because he's not gonna get on the fucking pitch. And they're finally getting rid of the toxicity in the club, and they're going to bring in one of the most toxic blokes that you could ask for.
He's been a lot better though in recent years. He
doesn't get on the pitch, but I think Barca are
Yeah,
better off
it's
getting
because
rid of him.
he's like, look, they've got to have their name. This guy just wants to play CS:GO all day. Leave him alone.
That's what I'm saying. They've just done another. They're getting rid of one streamer for another. Like it's just, I don't like it. Like for all the good things that PSG have done this window, that I really do not like. And I think Barca like are happy they've managed to get like at least a third of the fee back for him. So I think they're very. And I think that's just not going to go well. He just won't get on the pitch. If it was maybe more consistent, sure, but he's not going to get on the pitch. So that's why I don't like that one personally. But what about you, Jesse? What don't you like?
Um,
A lot of things.
was an expensive signing. So it's relatively cheap, like in this kind of era. But Nicholas Jackson to Chelsea. I just think
Can I tell you, that is actually one of my underrated ones where I reckon he'll smash it.
See, the
Jesse,
thing
let's
is,
talk about why you don't like it, Jesse.
so they Bournemouth were going to sign Jackson, right? They put out of the deal. I think he failed the medical, and like his stats weren't really that great. There's a lot of the La Liga clubs, they didn't really like him because they didn't think he was good. Chelsea have signed him purely on the fact that he went on this incredible run towards the end of the season where he scored in like every game from in the last 8 games, pretty much. He scored 3, 6, 9 goals in the last 8 games. And I just he's not that good quality. Now, obviously, I doubt they're expecting him to be their number one striker all season, but if they are, like,
Gonna
I
have
think
to
they are.
actually.
I think they are. He's
well,
only number 9.
Cool. Should have just kept fucking Timo Werner because this guy is not as good as Werner, and I just think it's a waste of 37 million. Of all Chelsea's done the opposite this season where they've actually signed decent players and all that who I think would actually fit the team. It's just him.
It's a big contract too. I think it's one of those.
It is
contracts they're giving.
8-year contract, mate. It's an 8-year contract.
It's another one of those, yeah, that they love doing.
Really
weird.
Really and I just think it's, I think it's really, he's never proven to be a great player, and I think Chelsea have just kind of winged this one.
Fair enough. No, but Yoni, you disagree with that? Why?
Actually,
with that?
my thing is more just from watching a few of the Chelsea games during preseason. I actually thought whenever he played, he looked like a gun. Like he actually was making runs. It was pressing. It was quick. I just thought he looked really good. The issue is those games were pretty much all within Nkunku as well, and they really combined well, which I thought was really interesting. But now I don't know what it will be like that Nkunku's out. So they're going to rely on him a lot more, especially if Lukaku's not there as well. He's literally going to be the only number 9. So it will be very interesting to see.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot.
But he's actually not my pick. It was one of my choices.
That's fair enough. Well, because the next one is underrated transfer. Who was your choice?
What did you say was a flop?
I said Dembele was a flop.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So who'd you have as underrated?
Me? So I was considering Diaby. I was considering Tielemans as well. I thought both of those Aston Villa shouts are pretty good. But I am going to go also, again, Premier League, João Pedro, Brighton. I think they were actually crying for a proper number 9. They had Evan Ferguson, but obviously he's quite young. He's 18, 19 maybe at the moment. And also, if you watched the game yesterday, he played really well. He got the penalty, he scored it afterwards as well. I think he suits the type of play that Deserbi wants as well. So João Pedro is my underrated one. And not many people will speak about him because, again, not a big team, not a big name kind of situation.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Jesse, who'd you have as underrated?
Pau Torres to Villa. I think that's a really, really good signing. I know they didn't have the greatest game today, but obviously, he wasn't starting. I think him, when he eventually can partner Diego Carlos in centre back together.
Not Konza.
No, I think Villa just needs to. I know they signed Diego Carlos to be the main centre back last year, and he got injured in the first game of the season and was out for pretty much rest.
It was an Achilles, yeah.
I don't know if he's like dropped in so much quality that they're just too scared to start him now, or they're worried he'll get injured. But I think they just need to take that and start both of them together, because I feel like they will be an amazing duo together. They just need that time. But I think, yeah, Torres I mean, a lot of clubs looked at him. A lot of clubs backed out of him as well. But I think he's probably going to prove a lot of people wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like that one. I'm gonna go with another Villa one. I like Yuri Tillman for free. I believe it was. Just to be able to take him off Leicester. I know he had a bit of a tipping form, but so did the entirety of Leicester pretty much. I think he's gonna be great for him. I think it's a nice little midfield they got, and Premier League proven, yes, but I think as well, it's more important. I think this is a really fantastic ball player, and he needs to have players around him that are quite athletic and combative, which he's got with Douglas Luiz and Bibka Kamara. So I think it's going to pay dividends for them, and I think they need a player like that, player in the midfield that's going to be able to create and play make and allow the others to sort of express themselves and really just utilize their athleticism. So I really like that signing.
Who do you reckon's based obviously before yesterday's game, if anyone asked me who do I think actually is going to come higher in the league between Villa and Newcastle, I'd say Villa because of the purchase, like the transfers that they've had, like they're superb. Now, watching yesterday's game, what do you think?
I always thought Newcastle. I basically don't have my top four unchanged from last season. That's the one thing I don't have unchanged. It's 5th to 8th. That is very
Interchangeable.
like Liverpool could actually probably crack into the top four, to be fair. Chelsea probably will get back up into that top 8 thing. Spurs, Villa, a few teams that can make it in. It's gonna be quite interesting to see who's battling for that Europa and Conference League, those Conference League spots. But yeah, in terms of, like I said, I thought Newcastle were always going to just be in the top 4 anyway. I think they probably could even pip us to 3rd if I'm being brutally honest. But yeah, I think that my top 4 just doesn't change personally. I don't know. What about you, Jesse?
What the top 4 of the Prem?
Well, not so much top 4 of the Prem. Like, what do you think? Relative for Newcastle and Villa? Like, what do you think? Like, who's going to end up finishing higher?
It's hard to say. Like, Villa's made a really incredible signings. And I don't know really think Newcastle signings have been quite as good as Villa's. But then again, like, Newcastle absolutely destroyed them yesterday. So it's gonna be one of those, like, yeah, wait and see. Potentially Newcastle just got the shock surprise on them. But
Villa could win the Conference League. Like
They could.
I think Villa will probably finish top 5.
Nice. I think they'll be around there. I agree. I think they're very strong.
I like it. I like it. Well, guys, those are our thoughts on the transfer activity. We're just going to do some hot takes just from you guys. So I'll read off the hot takes from the comments on my post, and I'll just go through them, and then we'll just give our quick thoughts on them. So we got Will, who said Bayern will lose the league, not because of Kane, but because of Tuchel. Jesse, how do you feel from Will?
Yeah, I'm based on what I said before, I'm not too far off.
Yeah,
from that. I think Tuchel.
I think Tuchel. That's even hot.
What?
That's not even like a hot take, all things being considered.
The best thing would be if you say Bayern's going to lose the league and Tottenham's going to win like a League Cup.
I think
that'd be so good.
Most people in Bayern circles at the moment are praying that the club sacks Tuchel and rehires Nagelsmann.
Would he come back, you reckon?
I mean, the guy loves Bayern.
Did it have a skate ramp?
Yeah. I think he would, to be honest. I think if there was a massive apology, we're fucked up kind of situation, I reckon he'd come back. It is his club.
And I guess Oliver Kahn's not there anymore.
Yeah, Kahn and Brazo, I'll go on. I think Nagelsmann, it is his club. It'd be like if Rashford became the manager of United, then you guys sacked him for whoever was managing Chelsea at the time. And then, Rashford still loves the club. He still wants to, manage the club. And then the new manager, Rashford will come back 100%.
It's one of those things. Ollie, pretty much.
No, because Ollie's useless, mate. Nagelsmann's actually a good manager. So.
Yeah, I agree. Cool, awesome. Here's a Kane related one as well. We got Joshua Anthony, who said Tottenham will make the top 4 and perform even better without Harry Kane. I think that's a scorchingly hot, terrible
That's
take.
not happening.
They're not finishing top 4. I'm so sorry to tell you. And maybe in a few years' time, they may be doing better without Kane. But this year, with no clear replacement for his goals and his assists, I mean, their striker now is Richarlison.
I think they could actually do worse than last season, but be happier as a fan base because they'll play better football.
As I told you
And
guys,
they're building something.
I think Richarlison's going to have a turnaround year this year. I think he's going to be better than what he was last year.
Is he going to change his personality too?
And he's not their only striker too, because they've also got Solomon as well that could play up front. Yeah, Mana Solomon.
Okay, different Solomon.
But they top 4 probably not.
Mate,
I mean, top 8 probably not.
One of your mates.
So it is him. Yeah. Oh, it is. He played for
he played for
Fulham.
Yeah, he was on loan at Fulham last season.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
Yeah, and he scored like 2 goals in the first 2 games and then did nothing after.
Yeah, I think if anyone could, get the best out of these players, it's going to be Ange. I think Ange, he can exploit those weaknesses and turn them into strengths, and I think he's going to be great. I mean, we'll see, in an hour when Tottenham takes off, but like his first starting 11 has Son, Charleston, Madison,
Kulusevski.
Yeah.
Captain as well.
Yeah.
Who's the goalkeeper? Who's the starting goalkeeper now? Is that Vicario, dude?
Vicario. Yeah.
It is, also. Damn, if they got right, that would have been great, but that's their problem. Just quickly, that's a transfer that I hate. I'll quickly go back. Another transfer I hate is David Raya.
But he's not the club. Ramsdale's going to go down.
Well, I mean, it's just the whole thing. I mean, we all argued about it in the group. It just doesn't make sense. Like, it's from why spend 30 mil if whatever. That's the same problem. Ben Foreign gave us about 50,000 hot takes, so thank you for that. We love it. The first one, we'll go on this quickly because he's got quite a few. But the first one was 100 million on Harry Kane is wasteful because he's 30 years old and Bayern will regret it. Jesse,
wasn't it something like this a year ago, like about Mane? I swear to God that it was about Jesse and about Bayern Munich.
But Mane wasn't that expensive.
Mane was only 40. Mane was only 30 mil, and we recouped that this year.
Jesse, there was something a year ago about this. I don't remember what it was. I'm going to try to find it and we'll discuss it.
It might have been Lewandowski related. But yeah, Jesse, how do you feel about Ben saying that you guys are going to regret spending that kind of money on Harry Kane?
I don't think we are. Bayern, at the moment, wants Tal to become the next striker, right? He's too young. He's a bit like the new guy you guys have signed. He's like, you can see all the potential is there, but the age at the moment is like.
How old is he now?
Tal? Well, Tal is, I think he's 19. He was 17 when we signed him.
Yeah. And as well, like Bayern right now aren't in.
He's 18, so he's not even. So
Bayern aren't in the same position that we're in, where we're like building towards something. Like you're in the position of right now where you should be challenging for leagues.
Exactly. If the club can't seriously turn around to every player on the team and go, "Hey, wait for him to be 20, and then he's going to be scoring goals." Because like Kimmich is going to be like, "Well, I'm in the middle of my prime right now. I'm not spending 3 years like just struggling in Champions League."
Just signed 26-year-old Kim Min-jae.
Yeah,
who's kicking on to he's starting to
exactly.
He's going to really assert himself as a world-class player. You got Sane's 27, Gnabry's 28, I think.
So if you think too, obviously we need a goalkeeper and a defensive midfielder, but every other position of ours is set.
Yeah.
Probably for the next 5 years unless someone leaves. Like we've got solid depth in every position. All of our players are pretty solid. Spending 100 mil now and the next couple of seasons, if we don't spend anything, that's already paying itself off. If Kane brings us to a Champions League and we win a Champions League under Kane, with Kane as a striker, that's already paying itself off.
Yeah.
The fact is, Tal is basically gonna, be that rotation, get some experience from a proper, striker. Love Moting, but there's a reason why he's never been a number one anywhere. He's just not that good. But Tal learning from Kane, developing those skills to be a 9 on his own in the future. I think it's a 4-year contract for Kane for a 5-year contract. That's 4 years to learn. That's only 2027. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do math in my head. That's like what 28 million a season.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like I don't think like Kane's got big wages. I don't think they're nearly as much as what Lewandowski's wages were, so it's not really horrible.
No, I think it's a. I think
And
it's a great
considering
signing.
how many players we signed on freeze, like I'm pretty happy with a
Yeah,
100 mil
no, I think
signing if
it's a
it's
scorcher of a take. I think it's a
yeah.
scorcher of a take. Also from Ben, Saudi teams will bully Asian football. I don't think it's really a hot take. I think they probably will. They're kind of bullying European football, to be fair. Saudis
Are
just
they?
can throw
Are
money.
they?
Well, it depends. Nah, not bully, but like they're taking all these players, but I mean they're gonna bully. Depends what I mean by bully. Like on the field,
Yeah,
they
is this
bully
in the
Asian football.
competitions?
Oh, you just said bully Asian football. I mean, maybe bully Asian football in competitions, yeah, because they've got all these great players. I mean, that's kind of goes without saying. And they're bullying players in terms of just they can sign anyone because they can just throw money at people. I don't really think that's like much of a hot take, especially in the realm
It's
of Asian football.
it's really nothing different. I mean, the runners up were Al Hilal last season. They won it the season before that.
Yeah, it's
Like
and
Saudi Arabian clubs have always been in there. Like Al
they've always been
Hilal,
strong,
yeah.
but now they're stronger.
It's either a
It's
Japanese
not really
club
hot.
or
Or a Saudi.
Saudi club. That's usually in the
Yeah,
final.
it's not really hot. But is there
And I
not really
don't
much to
think
touch on that one?
I don't think they're gonna really be bullying as much as this guy says. China, like when they went through that little period, even they weren't really dominating in the Champions League. It's just one of those things. Some of them will perform better, but
Yeah,
like making like Ronaldo, Sadio Mane, all those players work on one team, it's not as easy as it sounds.
yeah.
And
I
usually they
think so.
don't.
Especially when they're top fights, yeah.
Yeah, and usually the managers aren't really nearly as good.
No, you're right, and it's not like, but still, like to call it a hot take, like that they're going to do what they pretty much do already. I don't know. It's not like groundbreaking, but that's just my opinion. I'm gonna actually just got some from Mehdi Golami. I probably pronounced that wrong. Sorry, buddy. He's got a very hot take here. It's United to contend the Premier League title. That's scorcher.
That's guaranteed.
No, we're not.
It is.
We're not. We're not taking. We're not pretending it's Premier League.
100%. We are going to be in the top
Oh.
three until
until
the end, but we will be close in the title race until
January,
April. Early April.
No,
Yeah.
we're not going to be. No.
We are like guaranteed.
We're not that. We're not at the level of Man City.
We're
not.
I'm not saying we're at the level of Man City, but we will be close to the level of Man City for a while, I reckon. And what will happen is, you like everyone's like thinking, oh, preseason we didn't win, we didn't blah blah blah. Anyone who watched all of the games knows that we're actually putting, aside from the Wrexham game because it was kids, we actually put in like proper performances. The one against Real Madrid, proper performance. We lost 2-0. Fair enough, it's Real Madrid. The Dortmund one, we should have won. We were the better team. Like every game we played, we actually played well. And on top of that as well, we are going to have a striker. We are going to have an entire team that's actually like settled, and we have a bit more depth now as well, where we don't need to play Bruno for 60 games in a season. So I actually think we have an opportunity here to go for the two big prizes. I think we won't focus on the other two. We discussed this the other day anyway, and we will be pushing in that title challenge. It'll be more than a week, that's for sure.
We will do better than last season, but challenging for the title is a stretch. Like challenging for the title means like
it'll be similar to, even if it was like
realistic.
similar to Arsenal last season, not 93% on top.
Arsenal
but
wasn't a challenge, that was a bottle. That's different.
But they challenged until like 34th week or whatever, which I think
we won't do that though. But
I think 32, 31, yeah, we can.
Look, if we do anything for that length of time, it'll just be like gnawing at City's heels. It won't be like actually like spending, but we won't do what Arsenal did, actually spend time at the top.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying we'll challenge. I'm sure there was a time when Liverpool was 1 point behind City for like 10 games in a row, because City kept on winning. It doesn't. They never overtook City, but they were still.
I don't think we'd get that close.
I'm not saying we'll be 1 point, but we might be like 4 points behind them. Which is actually still quite freaking good.
No. I love that. I just don't know if it's realistic.
It is.
If I'm wrong,
guaranteed.
If I'm wrong,
guaranteed.
I'm not argue. I'm not going to
Yeah.
argue with that if I'm wrong, but
Yeah, we
those-
don't need
those
fans
are-
like you here who are negative against our team.
police is this freaking number one Harry
Jesse,
Maguire
can you
hater.
disagree with
Harry
me so we
Maguire's
can move on?
Harry Maguire's not on our team anyway. No, we will move on.
Exactly. No Harry
You know
Maguire.
what?
Another positive.
We're winning the league.
Yeah, quadruple.
We'll move on from that because that's so many hot takes. So thanks so much again for bringing that in, guys. But lastly, and I've saved the best for last because, guys, can we just the Matildas? I'm just like, I just love the team. What they've done for the sport in this country. I've got AFL mates. I've got people who've never fucking watched football in their life, couldn't care less, screaming, freaking out, watching these girls. Like what they've done for this sport.
Yeah.
For both,
Let's
like just in general. And just
the
like
question is whether it will
game.
be long lasting. This is my only concern.
well, this is this.
Why wouldn't it be? Why
So
wouldn't it be?
this is where
Because it's Australia.
this is. Let's go back 2 steps before we get to where you want to talk about, Yoni. Let's imagine this, right? Alex is spot on. AFL, NRL, all that. Everyone's on board with this, right? You had people, it was a Carlton versus Melbourne game yesterday. You had people, the MCG was showing this game on the screens in the stadium until I think 7 o'clock. Instead of staying out there to watch, the players warm up or anything, everyone went out the back to the concourses, to the bars and all that, where they could see the game, the Matildas game on, and were watching that. Even at 7:30, when the Carlton versus Melbourne game started, you only had a small crowd out there that was actually watching it. Everyone else was still in the concourses watching this game.
On their phones, yeah.
On their phones, on the TVs and all that. Triple M, the guys who are broadcasting, doing the commentary for the AFL game, aren't watching the AFL game. They're watching the Matildas. Like it turned into a commentary on how good the Matildas are and Mackenzie Arnold saving and Vine scoring the winning penalty. You had people at Optus Stadium in Perth getting ready for the biggest game in like Western Australian AFL. Like it was a big showdown between Freo and West Coast, and everyone is watching the screens. Waiting for the result. You look at Fed Square, you look at Darling Harbour, you look at bloody Rod Laver Arena, all the fan sites around the country, man, packed to the brim. 7.4 million, wrong way around. 4.7 million people were watching on Channel 7 last night. Optus haven't
sporting ratings in Australian history. I
think
since the Sydney Olympics.
Yeah, since Kathy Freeman, right? And Kathy Freeman, you can't really compare a 90-minute match that went for 120 minutes plus penalties to a minute and a half race. But we're getting there. And it's incredible. Optus hasn't released their numbers yet. But someone from Optus said that out of the 6,000 plus games of the Premier League, Champions League, Socceroos, Matildas that they've streamed, a number of them have from this Women's World Cup have been in the top 5 viewers that they've ever had. And that's over 6,000 games that they've streamed in their history. It's crazy how popular the Matildas are right now. You don't normally expect that. Soccer in this country has never been a number one sport. Probably never will be. But, Les and Johnny are up there looking down, proud as fuck right now. And, they're probably even more proud that it was the Matildas that got us there, not the Socceroos. And to go on to the thing, can we keep it up? Will it translate to A-League crowds and all that? We thought that would what was going to happen with the Socceroos, after they went to the round of 16, pushed Argentina all the way to, Garen Keel's final kick of the game. We thought that was going to happen. It didn't, but that was mainly because the APL ruined it. I think this time, because it's on home soil, and so many of the Matildas have played for in the A-League, and so many of them still play in the A-League, I think that's going to boost them as well, because you can be well, come and have a look at Courtney Vine, play for Brisbane. The only thing that they're lacking is you've got this big opportunity to advertise at all these fan sites at the stadiums and everything, and they're not. And that's what anyone with a brain should have been doing from the start.
as Adam said as well in the group, and you would have seen it elsewhere, I'm not sure, but apparently none of the money from this World Cup is even going into the A-League. Like it's all going to different things and federations, whatever the case is. So the A-League's actually not benefiting from it either.
FIFA,
And then
FIFA
the other
World
thing
Cup,
is
World
that
Cup
Adam
revenue is a
mentioned,
little bit like awkward though. Like the
yeah,
way
yeah,
they do
but
the
but
revenue is
the
very
other
strange.
thing, the other thing as well is that also women, like, and again, Adam mentioned this in the other chat, women's soccer, like if you're trying to get your kids to go and play female soccer and rep or whatever, it is ridiculously expensive in Australia. So it's, even if you wanted to, a lot of people just can't afford to do it. So that's the other hurdle that long term will affect everyone.
That is an issue, and that part of that issue comes from the government doesn't fund it.
Yeah.
Right. So
but it's okay. The government will give us a public holiday. That will be it. Like that's it.
Well, no. So at a
I want my day off. Albo, I want my day off.
At a grassroots level, soccer is the most played sport in the world, in the country, right? So it's got the highest participation rates. Now hopefully, when we're really hoping, the government can see how people get around it and can put more money into it. So at the moment, like the state governments, as a Victorian, Alex and I probably complain a lot when all the big teams come over. They go to Sydney, they go Brisbane, and all that. Like sometimes they'll come to Melbourne and play at the G or something, but most of the time they're fucking off around in
We're
Sydney.
talking about soccer here because over the last few years I've had to fly to Melbourne to watch my teams play.
Yeah, Man United, but like most of the time,
Man United, Dortmund, Tottenham, I've all gone to Melbourne and haven't come to.
When did Dortmund come to Melbourne?
Melbourne
3 years ago, 4 years ago.
I don't remember that at all.
When Spurs came, I watched them play. Juventus as well, they came there.
Yeah, okay, so that was different. That was the ICC. But right, but like even like too, so Socceroos, Matildas games mainly all get played in Sydney, right? And that's just based on the state government. So the New South Wales government always pays. It's whoever pays the most gets these, right?
It's very pay to win. Soccer in this country is very pay to win.
Yeah, Melbourne doesn't care about soccer, mate. Like, despite the fact that you'd probably find more soccer fans in Melbourne than anywhere else in the country. And I'm not saying, Sydney doesn't have as really many soccer fans, but if you look at the most supported clubs in soccer for Australia, 2 of them are in Melbourne. So it's pretty easy to make that statement there.
Well, no, yes and no. Maybe more locally. I would say that there's probably more soccer supporters in Sydney, but it's for international soccer because Sydney just has so many more immigrants.
I think the problem we've got all the Greeks and Italians and all that too.
But we have all the South Americans as well.
Melbourne is known as the sporting capital of the world, and the fact that the football in Melbourne is quite shit. But I will go to the death and say the reason why football, soccer, whatever the fuck, is held back in Melbourne is because the AFL mafia, because the AFL for the most part are very threatened by soccer, very, very threatened. The fact that they've actually made some concessions towards the Matildas is quite wild. That's why I'm actually encouraged. So for Channel 7, who have the most lucrative deal with the AFL to broadcast the games, the fact that Channel 7 said we're going to broadcast the Matildas until the very end, and that very start of the Carlton Melbourne game was going to be on 7 Mate, one of the secondary channels. I think it's massive because for the
on top of that,
the AFL do what they can to nullify football in this country. For example, the day of the Socceroos Argentina game, our biggest game in the men's team's history, AFL oh fuck, here's our fixture. Fuck you, we don't care right
okay now. All right. I love this. Let me backtrack 2 seconds. All right, so Channel 7 too, they also changed so normally the 7 News, the nightly news is the main focal point of any Channel 9, Channel 7, Channel 10. It's the biggest thing that they have, is where they get most of their ratings from. They put that back for the Matildas. And this is Channel 7, the same Channel 7 who pretty much killed the old NSL. NSL?
And they killed the NSL, and they killed also active fans with the Northern Terrace and what's the Western Sydney thing? The
RBB.
RBB, they killed them because okay, all right, look, the Victory fans with the bucket kicking, okay, that was bad. But aside from that, it's they got threatened over fans for the most part just being quite animated with atmosphere.
And again, that comes back to Greeks, Italians, and Arabs.
Anyway, but the thing is, like, the fact that Channel
Present.
7 has gone around it, AFL has, been very, very nice around the whole thing too. Has been a blessing in disguise for the Matildas. And look, Alex, I'll give you the AFL release a schedule, but they release a schedule on that day every year, and they release it at that time because it goes into the Sunday papers. So I know it seems coincidental, but they do it every year at the same time. But anyway, going back to the Matildas, it's just
if anything, then Australia Socceroos should have changed their date of the game.
Just change the whole World Cup.
Yeah. Well, they did, didn't they?
But essentially, like, Melbourne puts too much money into AFL, and honestly, it should be spread more to soccer as well. But and you see that we don't get nearly as many Socceroo or Matildas games down here. Despite being the sporting capital of the world, our biggest soccer stadium is only 30,000 capacity. And so that's why, like,
unfortunately, Marvel and MCG are so shit for soccer. They're fucking terrible.
Which is why, like, Melbourne only got, I think it was maybe like 6 games all up for the Women's World Cup. The fact that Brisbane got more games than us is, a bit of a laugh. Like,
thank God, because look at the fans yesterday.
We're great.
Melbourne was the loudest, right? I went to all 3 group stage games, and I'll not biased because I'm from Melbourne, but Melbourne were louder.
Yesterday, the commentators were saying they couldn't even hear one another talking. It was for like the entire time.
The one thing I'll say, like, to go back to my point about like the whole how like these people who never watched soccer in their lives and now like getting into the Matildas and like really being passionate about it. And you got my friends who like both men and women who are full on saying, like, they asked me last night, oh, so what happens? Like, how's it work? Like, what if it's a draw, what happens? I'm like, oh, it goes to extra time, goes to penalties. How's penalties work? It's best of 5, then sudden death if nothing. So I'm explaining, and they're really into it.
Did you have to explain the offside rule?
That's advanced
class.
That's just digging a hole. Forget about it. That's like freaking advanced physics. No. So the one thing that I love as well, because like I mentioned, how these people are just getting into soccer out of nowhere. Sam Kerr was probably already a household name in Australia, just because she's like an Australian athlete that's very global. You see her on all the Nike ads and everything, and she's on the cover of FIFA.
Her brother's also a major AFL player.
Her brother's a fucking junkie.
He is.
Then, like, in addition to Sam Kerr, Mary Fowler's a household name. Hayley Rasso's a household name.
I don't think they are, because I couldn't tell you they were pre-World Cup.
No, I'm saying after the World Cup, you donkey. That's my point. Thank you.
But also, you got to remember too, like, Hayley Rasso is now the first Australian to ever play for Real Madrid.
Wait. Here's the thing. I bet, like, the question is whether a year from now, these people who watch them play now will still remember Sam Kerr. They'll know, obviously, yes. Mary Fowler, yes. But anyone else, I honestly don't think they'll remember names. I don't think it'll be where you hope it will be. I just don't see it.
Look, it's getting
the amount of simp TikToks I've seen about Ali Carpenter.
Well done. Yeah, it's TikTok, mate. You know what TikTok is for? Fads. And you know what happens with they move along.
Hey, look, Yoni,
you still troll? No, you don't. It's a fad from ages ago.
This is old man script. This is old man.
I know, old man script. Hey, Yoni, the future is now, old man. The future is now.
But if I know anything about, like,
you don't know much.
No, listen, you fucking geriatric. Listen, if I know anything about the modern day, is that when the people's
attention span is really good.
It's really short, but when they like someone, they're gonna start, like, how many followers now? Like, the Matildas now are more followed than Socceroos on social media. How many followers now? Like, Ali Carpenter's Instagram would have blown up. Fowler's Instagram, Rasso's, Katrina Gorry's, Rooney Cross's, Mackenzie Arnold after last night. It's all going to grow. So people are just going to start following them. Even if they couldn't give a flying fuck about the sport, their profile is going to grow. And so long as they're getting followed, as long as people are engaging with them on social media, people are going to see what they're actually up to. And look, I remember from 2006 World Cup when the Socceroos had the first great run that they had, the sport did grow in the country, like, enough where there was enough of an avalanche to get momentum going. That's gonna, like,
I think
enough of an avalanche with this one. Plus, also, if I can be like a bit of a cuck for a second, this is great for young girls because now like young girls actually have like a team they can look up to. Like for my generation, us was the Socceroos at 06. Now like young girls can say, oh look, you got Sam Kerr, you got Mary Fowler, you got all these players you can look up to. There's actually something there. So if anything, we'd probably end up like America in terms of being a consistently strong women's team.
You'd think the author would know that that's not how cuck is used. But anyway,
Right.
I think. Look, do you know when the MSL, do you know when the MLS started really growing? Right, it wasn't, contrary to popular belief, it wasn't when David Beckham went there. It was after the 1994 World Cup, which America hosted. Right,
Yes.
that's when the MLS started really growing. That's when they started, like, the crowds started happening, and I think it was like about 2002.
And Zlatan will tell you that the MLS, even now, and the soccer situation in the USA is very bad and it's too expensive. And he was saying how it costs $2.5K for his kids to go and do like soccer school.
Yes, but like, let's take a step back.
And that's USD.
Let's take a step back. It was about 2002 when they kind of rechanged the system, but they were still growing popular, right? I think this is what's going to be like for Australia, the A League, the Matildas. Matildas have made this sport popular. So I shared a post into the group yesterday. It was from Opta Sports, and it had, when 2005, when we won the penalty shootout to take us to the World Cup for the first time since the 70s. And then in the top part of it, also had the Matildas doing a very similar celebration, winning the penalty shootout today. I think this is two very defining moments of a generation, right? 2006, before social media really took off, that was a defining moment in football in our country that, a lot of boys got involved in it. A lot of people started following it. Good timing for that too, because it happened just before the A-League started too. So the A-League started with this renewed interest, more friendlier clubs because they weren't all, ethnic based, and like the violence kind of died out a little bit. So it was a really good start. This is going to be even bigger, I think, because we're going into this moment. We're potentially, like, we 100% have 2 more games to play. Whether we make it to the final or we make it to the third place playoff, we're playing 2 more games. We're going up against England, right? Australians nothing more than to put the English in their place. We'd love to do it in the Ashes. We just did it in the netball.
Imagine doing it now in England's like own sport, like
the
sport that they like.
Australians, yeah. And there's a lot of Poms in Australia, and we love nothing more than to make them regret, being British.
We love.
So let's smash it.
That's our national pastime is beating English at
the sport. If we're not making fun of New Zealand, it's beating New Zealand. It's beating England at a sport, and if we do that, that's going to be a game changer. If we make it to the final, even if we don't win the final, but if we make it to it, sport in this country has changed forever. Like, this would be a big moment. Yeah. Even if prices still say fairly expensive, the reason they cost so much is because you need to pay more for, the change rooms and all that shit, the cost of rent and all that. More people wanting to do it should lower the costs. In theory, that's using my 1 year of doing a business degree. In theory, that's how it should work, right?
Look, we got the Jew here. The finances,
but don't tell people.
But yeah, I think this will be very much like 2006, but even bigger, because it's not. Matildas have a better image than the Socceroos, right?
They do, because
like they're all girls, they're all relatable too. Dory's a mum. Sam Kerr, mate, she loves her footy just as much as she loves soccer, Like, so she was West Coast Eagles #1 ticket holder for a while. She's very invested in that sport. Like they're relatable. They're a bit more relatable. They're more approachable. And they're the biggest names in their sport. Whereas the Socceroos, like, we had a couple of big names, but like they weren't like, world best players.
There's a feel good factor in the Matildas too. There's like a whole, like, oh, we like, people just love this team. There's something really, really enjoyable about them. So that's why I think it's encouraging. And I've got friends, who like are teeing up like a massive gathering for the game on Wednesday night. And again, these are the same friends who never seen soccer in their life. So, look,
you know what I find most unbelievable about this entire thing, though?
Go.
Is that you seem to have friends.
Yeah, exactly. That's the That's how good football is. Is that it's made me get friends because they're like, oh, I'm the football guy. That's as much proof as we need. But yeah, like
Hey, while they're having the watch alongs, maybe you can sell some of your books.
exactly right.
Stand outside.
Stuff
I'll sign it for you,
guys. Our viewers, here is a new war, but no, I'm joking. So now look, either way, well, look, whatever happens in terms of the cost of playing football and everything, either way, it is undeniable that the success of the Women's World Cup has been fantastic. The success of the Matildas has been great. It's going to create good knock-on effects, and it's nice seeing the country united. Like I haven't seen the country this united around one thing since well before COVID. I think considering the polarization we've copped over the last couple of years, the fact that the Matildas have brought the country around one thing.
I think this is like the first good feeling thing that we've been all united on. The last thing that all Australians united on was like when we had those really bad bushfires back in 2019.
It's been a good long time. And also just one last note, how cool was that shot of everyone on the plane watching the Matildas penalty shootout? Except old mate watching Return to the King. That was great.
Respect.
You know what?
To be fair, he probably finished his drum. I'm surprised that he probably started at the same time the game started, and a lot of the rings were still going on after penalties and everything.
I'm not sure if you would have been watching extended cut or theatrical cut, but nonetheless, it's been great to be a Matildas watcher and a football fan in this country. But guys, we'll leave it there. That is all for tonight. So thank you so much as always for sticking with us. Great to talk about the transfers of the upcoming season. Great to see what you guys are thinking, and of course, always great to discuss the Matildas. Look out for, of course, keep engaged with the group, making sure that we're talking about the Matildas and the Women's World Cup. Obviously leave us your thoughts about the upcoming seasons and transfers leagues going on. We love hearing from you guys. Let us know what content you'd love to see as far as the podcast is concerned. We're starting to move towards doing video format as well, so keep an eye on that. We're getting a little bit less low budget, which is good. But otherwise, yeah, it's been great. It's been a great night. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Do you guys have anything else to add to this?
Yeah, like, subscribe,
follow.
Yeah.
I got two things. One, if you're a Pom who's supporting England on Wednesday, if you win, you're getting deported. If you lose,
the worst attitude ever. Yeah.
Shut up because you're next.
We'll never make the World
Cup. And that was all. Adios.
Also, just quickly, if you're listening, Haley Rasso, please marry me. Thank you, and have a good night, guys.